Hey, welcome. In the world of language, some words are just total masters of disguise. They look and sound exactly the same, but they lead completely different lives. So today, we're going to dive into this fascinating case of words that share an identity, but are hiding totally separate meanings.
So you gotta wonder, right? How can one little sequence of letters represent two, sometimes completely unrelated ideas? Well, it's this linguistic puzzle that our brains are solving every single day. It's a mystery that's baked right into the history of our language, and in this explainer, we are gonna crack that code together.
All right, let's start with our first clue, the word bank. Just take a second and think about what that word means to you. Do you have just one answer, or does your mind kind of jump between a couple of possibilities? And there it is, the double life of bank. It can be the edge of a river, where you go fishing, or it can be the place you go to deposit a check. Same spelling, same sound, but two totally different worlds. This is what sets the stage for our first category of these linguistic shapeshifters. Okay, so let's put a name to this, shall we? Our first suspect in this whole mystery is the homonym. Honestly, the best way to think of them is as identical twins in the word world. They look the same, they sound the same, but they have completely different personalities.
So a true homonym has to be a perfect match in two ways. It's got to have the same spelling, and it's got to have the same sound. The only thing that's different is the meaning. And it's that exact combination that can sometimes trip us up if we're not paying close attention. And here are our star examples, right? A bat can be that little flying creature of the night, or it can be what you use to hit a baseball. And a bank, like we just saw, can be all about nature or all about finance. These are classic homonyms, and they show just how one word can operate in two totally separate realities.
But, just when you think you've got it all figured out, language loves to throw a curveball. What happens when words look the same, but they don't actually sound the same? Yeah, this is where our investigation gets a little more interesting.
So meet the homograph. The name itself actually gives us a huge clue. Graph means to write, so these are words that are written the same, but, and this is the key, their pronunciation can change, and that change in sound completely changes their meaning. These guys are the real masters of disguise.
Just look at the word L-E-A-D. If I say, please lead the way, I'm pronouncing it lead. But if I'm talking about what's inside an old pencil, that's lead. See, the spelling is absolutely identical, but the sound tells you everything you need to know about which one I mean.
It's the exact same deal with T-E-R. A single tear rolling down someone's cheek is a world away from when you tear a piece of paper. Same letters on the page, but the pronunciation is the key that unlocks the meaning every single time.
So, why? Why does English have so many of these confusing words? You might think it's some kind of flaw in the system, but it's not at all. The answer, as we hinted at before, is really all about history. See, the English language wasn't just born one day. It was built, layer by layer, over thousands of years.
And this timeline just lays it all out. English is a linguistic melting pot. It started with these old Germanic, Old English roots, right? Then it absorbed massive amounts of vocabulary from Latin and Greek, and then a huge wave of French. As all these different words from all these different languages came crashing together, well, collisions were bound to happen. Different words just ended up looking or sounding the same by pure coincidence.
I just love this quote. It captures the idea so perfectly, that every single word we use carries these little echoes of the past. These homonyms and homographs, they're not mistakes. They're like fossils, preserving this incredible history of cultural exchange and how our language has grown over time. Okay, so with all these historical collisions and these little language traps everywhere, how do we manage to get by so easily? Well, the answer is a superpower that every single one of us uses all the time, probably without even realizing it. Our secret weapon is context.
So let's just pause on that for a second. When you're reading a sentence, how does your brain instantly know which bat or which lead the writer is talking about? What are the clues it's looking for?
Well, for homographs, one of the most powerful clues isn't even the other words in the sentence. It's how the word itself is spoken. It's all about which syllable gets the stress. It's this cool little trick we call the stress shift. Okay, take the word present. If I give you a birthday present, see how the stress is on that first syllable. But if I stand up to present my findings in a meeting, the stress moves to the second syllable. That tiny little shift in emphasis completely changes the word from a thing to an action, from a noun to a verb. Let's do one more just to lock it in. I might listen to a vinyl re-chord, with the stress on re. But then, I might use my phone to record a conversation, stressing the chord. It's such an elegant and powerful rule, and it's hiding in plain sight. It's absolutely critical for fluent speech.
Okay, so this has been a pretty fun linguistic detective game, right? But what's the real-world takeaway? Why does understanding any of this actually matter? Well, it's actually fundamental to being a really skilled communicator and a sharp reader.
At the end of the day, getting a handle on these concepts isn't just about winning a trivia game. It directly strengthens your reading comprehension. It makes you way better at interpreting context, at predicting what a sentence is trying to say, and of course, avoiding the kind of confusion that can lead to some serious misinterpretation.
And that really brings us to our final thought. This whole principle goes way beyond just grammar, you know? Just like history gives words their shape, and the words around a homograph reveal its true meaning, the circumstances surrounding an event or a person often reveal a much deeper truth. Context really is everything.
So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know what to look for, what other awesome word puzzles are hiding out there in the books you read or in the conversations you have every single day? Trust me, the more you look, the more you're going to find. Thanks for joining me on this one.